gave me some god-awful thing called decaffeinated tea. Why would anybody drink tea if it was decaffeinated?
I think it's a fair point. It's like alcohol. It's like non-alcoholic beverage.
Herbal tea is non-caffeinated.
But that's dreadful stuff.
Some of it's good for you. Like good for your digestive
Herbal
tract.
tea was caffeinated.
This is a good question. We need to debate this.
We have time.
Yes. Well, we have time apparently.
Yep.
Going to be first. Because we happen to make it through the door.
Good morning.
Early warm.
I just charged the line. These guys obviously were early.
Hey, John.
I said that the
John.
chairman said it was important, because I have to go off to Washington after this.
Okay,
Let's do it at least 4 or 5.
All right, let's do it.
You're there too?
Listen to that on the radio this morning. Oh,
Is it?
the Kavanaugh here.
Yeah.
I had to turn it off. I couldn't listen to
The chairman didn't undergo an intensive process like that when he was appointed to his judicial appointments, did he?
I don't think there were any such allegations.
I didn't mean the allegations. I just meant the scrutiny.
Oh, there was a lot of scrutiny.
Thank you.
More important job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Which one's first?
Doug's going to let us know. Let's go.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Preliminary matter on the AM docket, case number 6, Carolina Tex-Mex Restaurant, 500 South Wolf Street. This case has been postponed. Number 1, Lacaille Restaurant, LLC, Trinez Lacaille, 10 South Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-160.
No, we're Blue Dog.
Your Blue Dog.
Sorry. Apologize.
Blue Dog. What's the address for Blue Dog?
It's number 5.
It's number 5.
It's not here.
Number 5.
Hey, Mr. Page, I don't think Blue Dog is, or La Calle is here yet.
Okay.
So,
Ms. Hecker, your clients, all your clients are present?
Our clients for number 2 are here, but not for 4.
Mr. Chairman?
Let's start with 5, and then we'll go to 2, okay?
Okay, sure.
Sorry for the confusion.
It's all right.
I know Douglas always knows more than I do, so I just responded to him.
Okay, case number 5 on the AM docket, Blue Dog BBQ Baltimore LLC, trading as Blue Dog BBQ Company, 1300 Bank Street, Suite 120. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment, requesting outdoor table service and off-premise catering. Please come forward.
Good morning. I guess I should state for the record, since we're on the record, that our docket is a little bit confused this morning because apparently there is a hearing here on the Affordable Housing Trust, and there's a lot of people outside who are unable to get into City Hall this morning. So we're going to take the cases in the order in which we have people, and we'll begin with this one. So, counsel?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. David F. Mr. Winter and Bartlett LLC, representing the applicants today.
Good morning. Would they raise their right hands, please? Or your other hand, if you can.
My left okay? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Mr. Misters, you want to tell us about this?
Yes. This is an existing location, and we're seeking the transfer of the existing Class B license for the existing location. This was the site of the Heavy Seas Brewing Company that operated at the premises for a while. My clients are seeking to come and change the concept. It's going to be a barbecue concept. We filed a copy of the menu with the board. Mr. Stoll can describe that a little better. He's the barbecue master as well as an applicant and a member of the LLC. We have reached out. I mean, it's not really a residential community. It's principally, I'm sure that you might know the area. was, I think, originally sort of a warehouse district. It's now being converted little by little into both retail and some residential. We have reached out to nearby the residences and the condominium there, and I offer copies for each of the board members of email
Thank you.
exchanges that we have had with some of the representatives there, and they speak favorably and actually look forward to this restaurant coming. We do have a member from the community who's here with us, which we'll ask to testify after the applicants. If we might, I'd like to start with Sean Stoll. Mr. Stoll, please state your name for the record.
Sean Russell Stoll.
Okay.
Good morning.
And what is your role with Blue Dog Barbecue?
Pardon me. So I am one of the partners, one of the multiple operating partners there within the restaurant. So pretty much overseeing all aspects. I am the barbecue side, so I kind of definitely oversee the kitchen, but we'll have a lot of responsibilities out front as well. My other partner, John Royce, here as well, who's going to be the other applicant on the license, essentially doing the same thing. He oversees more of the front of house while I oversee a lot of the back.
Were you injured slinging barbecue?
This all for the love of the craft. I, stupidly, I decided to help a contractor that I was paying to do some work because he didn't have enough guys. And what we've learned is you never stick the fattest guy on the highest ladder. It doesn't end well. So, but yes, I was injured in the craft. But what we're looking to do is basically open up our first brick and mortar here and bring some great barbecue to the restaurant, to the area, as well as providing a fun atmosphere, with the ability to serve the alcoholic side.
And how big is the operation?
Anyway, in square footage or size of people or
Number of people you'd be serving?
be serving in the restaurant. We have about 87 seats out front. That's including the bar and the restaurant. It's a little bit of a fast casual concept or hybrid concept, I should say. So the bar will be full service. There's about 23 seats at that bar. The rest of the restaurant will be fast casual. You will go up to a register, place your order for what you would like. You'll get a number. You go down and get your silverware, everything else you need. There's a self-service soda. Have a seat, and everything else will be brought out to you.
Including any alcoholic beverages they would order?
Including alcoholic beverages there. So the cashier, our cashier, all of our bartenders, and pretty much anyone that interacts with front of house staff will undergo mandatory alcohol training, to make sure our policy is we card anyone under the age of 35. We have requested the new or current photo books for resident IDs, as well as if somebody orders an alcoholic beverage with the cashier along with their lunch, ticket goes to the bar will make it, that cashier is the one that has taken the ID and made sure that you're of age, and they will give that to you. If someone then goes to the bar for another drink, if they're not recognized, if that bartender is not the one that served them initially, they are required per policy to request your ID again to make sure that everything is followed up there.
How many seats outside?
Outside? So it says table service outside, that was currently there. We have a courtyard that's actually, it's closed off, so it's not as though it's outdoor seating. We have some tables out there. There's probably about 15 to 20 seats. And again, that would be fast casual, so if somebody sits there, their food would just be dropped off. We don't necessarily have a server going out to that table to get you, further items. If you want anything else, you would come back into the restaurant.
Well, it now rains every day, so it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Just read an article that we've gotten twice as much rain here as London and Seattle over the last year, so.
And Mr. Stoll, just to be a little bit more complete on that, this courtyard is actually in the interior. And
Right.
it's surrounded by the buildings, and the only way to access is to actually go through the restaurant premises.
So
Is that correct?
It's cordoned off. There's no way to get in and out without, having access to our building. So it's not as though someone can go out there and then leave or bring something else in from outside. So I don't know if that classifies technically as outside or not. but-
Just talk a little bit more about your cuisine. You've said it's a
Sure.
barbecue place. Talk about generally.
Absolutely.
You've
So-
filed a menu, but
Pardon me. So, we specialize in traditional, Southern style barbecue. So everything we do is very low and slow. Someone will be on site about 1 a.m. every night starting the fire. We do all wood. So we do pulled pork, pulled chicken, quartered half chicken, and spare ribs as our main barbecue fare. We also offer an assortment of burgers, salads, some fried chicken and fried catfish as well as our sandwich. Our idea is to be, it's very casual, just good Southern comfort style food. We're actually looking to do more of a day style service than night, but as far as our fare is concerned, that's basically what we have. Our sides are baked beans, mac and cheese, that kind of thing. We're hoping for a very big lunch crowd due to all the businesses there that are there. I know currently the place wasn't open during lunch. We see that as a huge opportunity for us to go and get a lot of the local business people to come over and do a lot of business for us.
How many employees do you anticipate having?
Under 30, I would say probably 25 to 30 in that range, depending on what business dictates as our needs. Our starting crew is probably going to be about 30 people.
And how many of those will be management staff?
Management staff, aside from John and I, we have one GM that's already come on. We'll have a kitchen manager as well. John and I will be on premise as kind of
This is going to be your full-time job and also Jonathan's full-time job, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So one of you is probably going to be there doing most operating hours.
Both of us will probably be there at some mix for a while, and then one of us will almost always be there. And then we have, again, one other manager in front of house and one manager in back of house that other people roll up to and have responsibilities as well.
And-
They obviously will be part of our training.
And what would be your customary hours of operation?
So our hours of operation, for the most part, will be closed on Mondays. Tuesday through Thursday, we're shooting for 11:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Friday and Saturday, we would stay open an extra hour until 10:30. And Sundays, we would close pretty early, about 7:30. So we're actually looking to kind of dial the late night hours back. We don't foresee ourselves being that kind of place. We just want to, serve food, serve a few drinks, and get out. Nothing good happens after midnight. So.
Does the board have any other questions of Mr. Stoll?
I have a couple questions. One is, can you describe the live entertainment component?
So, yeah, I think what we would probably be looking at is, we've talked about having probably, it'd be inside and doing, probably acoustic style sets or, a 1 to 2 person, setup in there in our corner, playing solely inside. Probably, maybe a Wednesdays, Thursdays, maybe from the hours of, 4 to 7, 5 to 8, something like that. Maybe on slower days. We haven't decided if that's definitely going to happen, but we'd like the ability if need be.
And then the second question is, you explained a lot about what you're seeking to do. Can you and Mr. Royce describe a little bit about your background and experience?
Absolutely. So I've come up in the restaurant business my entire life. Started out when I was young as working in kitchens, and then at the highest level was a multi-unit manager for a company. Actually operated out of the airport, and so I've run restaurants for most of my life. I recently, about 2 years ago, started a catering business and wanted to grow that. So I left the job I was with, I went back to the restaurant and had my catering business, and then throughout that we were fortunate enough to meet our financial partner and decide to take this to take this to the next level and try and open our own place. So very familiar with the restaurant business, the inner working, stuff like that. That's my background. That is, and John can speak for himself if he likes on his background.
Sure.
State your name for the record, Mr.
Sure.
Royce.
Jonathan Royce. My background, I've been in this restaurant business for 27 years. Different levels, started as a dishwasher. Highest level attained was a multi-unit general manager, again at BWI Airport. He was part of my management team that ran 5 establishments there. Off and on through the years, general manager, area director. I actually worked for a group called Monogram Hospitality that ran the Heavy Seas Ale House that we're taking over for. Right. This was a few years back. I had jobs with Iron Rooster and O'Bricky's again at the airport in the meantime.
Thank you.
And again, what is your role?
So I mean, I'm a partner as well. We're pretty interchangeable in what we do. Yeah, he's the pit guy more so. He's been doing it for many more years than I have, and I'm more probably slated for front of the house or operations management. But we're fairly interchangeable in that. We've worked together for quite a bit and know each other's talents. So.
We also have a representative from the community here. Sir, would you step up and identify yourself, please?
John Rusing,
How do you spell your last name?
Reusing, Reusing.
Mr. Reusing?
And where do you live, Mr.?
So I live on the 400 block of High Street, which is it's like a 2-block diagonal walk from where the location is. And we're just real excited to have them come in, especially as a barbecue place, because they're going to be on site for much longer hours than like a burger place that would just shut down. Like they're going to be there into the night cooking, which sucks for them, but not me.
Have you spoken to your neighbors and fellow residents of the community?
Oh yeah, people are real excited to get the place open, have activity on that corner again, bring kind of life to that part of, it's right on the edge of Little Italy. So I live in Little Italy, and that's kind of where the neighborhood stops. So this helps expand it a little bit.
Anything further? Do you have anything further?
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Well, since Larry is here, we're prepared to rule now. So, on the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the testimony that we've received, the proffers from council, the email submission which supports this, and testimony supporting it, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering.
I too vote to approve transfer of ownership with the continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering. Good luck.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, email support. Thank you.
Mr. Page, I think we can go to number 2 then?
I think we're back on track, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all right.
Case number 1 on the AM docket. La Calle Restaurant LLC, trading as La Calle, 10 South Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. An application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-1604, small c, number 2, small I, requiring $700,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures and facilities, 65% of food sales, and seating capacity for a minimum of 75 people, requesting outdoor table service as well. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Okay, good morning. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicants. I'm pinch hitting for Mr. Bauer.
Morning. With the folks who are here, raise your right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
So if you are asked to testify, please step up to the microphone and give us your name. Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, thank you very much. Here on behalf of La Calle Restaurant at 10 South Street, which used to be the headquarters of the liquor board years ago. Keep moving on us. But I have some photos. The restaurant is refined Mexican street food. Chef Luis Sandoval has extensive experience. Started with Fogo de Chao, really, and in Philadelphia, Boston, New York City, and then they moved him down here to Baltimore when the location opened here, and he fell in love with the city. He was employed previously in Philadelphia by Mr. Bernard Dehaney, who has an extensive restaurant curriculum vitae. He has started probably 5 or 6 restaurants in Washington. The only one I ever ate at was La Vendue, the French restaurant. Oh, I take it back. And almost a world-famous restaurant in Olney, the only famous restaurant in Olney called Le Mannequin Peace, French-Belgian restaurant that's people drive for an hour to get to. So they're a neat team. I'm just going to put some photos in for evidence so you can see some of the work that's done. It's an attractive space. Unfortunately, the prior tenant had literally no gas lines whatsoever. So there was extensive restoration of the building to allow them to have a true kitchen. The last tenants were operating off of electric toasters and things like that, and obviously that's not going to make for fine dining. So Mr. Dehaney and is sort of he's here to make sure that the business goes well. He's also a city resident. Mr. Sandoval will be the day-to-day boss. Come on up here, Mr. Sandoval. And he'll be joined by his managers, Mr. Lorenzo and Ms. Dill.
I'm here as a witness.
Oh, you're as a witness? Yes. Okay, by Mr. Lorenzo. So, and if you have any questions, let me go ahead and put the financials in here first before I turn it over for questions. Each of you, these are all identical. I'll give you each a copy of the
Thank you.
summary, thank you, of the financial expenditures. And I'll go ahead and move one of these back.
Thanks.
It'll be received. And I'm seeing a total of around 900,000.
That's correct. And let's see, so on the construction side, my clients spent $369,584. Just for the equipment is another $93,000. And then the furnishings and wares come to $115,150. Additionally, because there are offices above the restaurant, they were required to install a sprinkler system, and those sprinkler systems are enormously expensive. So they're up to code, they're open without the liquor license, and
And
it
how many
is.
seats?
What's that?
How many seats?
85 seats. They have a 85, not including bar stools, and they have an occupancy of 120.
And what about the outdoor seating? How many seats?
Come on, Mr. Dehaney, come on up. Sorry.
Good morning, gentlemen, ladies. We would probably look for about 18 to 22 seats outside. I believe there's room for about 4 or 5 tables.
That's in addition to the 85.
Outside, correct, in warmer weather.
Okay.
And I have a copy of menus for each of you, and for evidence, they are open for brunch, lunch, and dinner.
What are the hours of operation?
Hours of operation are, we open at 11 a.m. Till 3 p.m. Take a little break for dinner service, but we will probably stay open with a smaller menu to accommodate the people working in the offices. And then dinner resumes at 4 o'clock until 10:30 on weekdays, and 11 on Friday, Saturday. Sunday, we tend to close a little earlier, so we can have a little break as well.
Thank you.
And at this time, I'd like to put forth the brunch, lunch, and dinner menu.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, Commissioner Greenfield.
My pleasure.
And one for the record. Ask that the brunch, lunch, and dinner menu be moved into evidence.
They'll be received.
I have, so that's a breakdown. As far as the photos show, they did a lot, they just about gutted the place. They show a before and after picture of the exterior of the premises, the alley, which had been a blight for some time, that's been improved. They received a glowing recommendation from the Baltimore Sun just a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you. Thank you.
They will be received.
We have many, many receipts and invoices and proof of payment for these items. Not all of these items have been purchased yet. There's still kitchen equipment that's still that's still being purchased. But they've already, between the landlord and the tenant, they've already spent over $700,000.
Okay, and in terms of the people who are going to be managing the alcohol, what's their training background and?
Well, I've had numerous liquor licenses throughout the years, and
How many? I mean, we just talked about this.
1, 2, 3, 4 liquor licenses in total so far. The training, we will all be certified. That's definitely, and on a daily basis, we have 2 meetings with our staff. Basically, in the morning, going over what happened the previous night and preparing for the day as well. Afternoon staff or night staff, wait staff, we have a meeting as well with them regarding specials, alcohol specials, drink specials, wines, et cetera, et cetera.
And they'll understand about carding people
Correct,
their age?
correct.
Okay.
And Mr. Lorenzo, while Mr. Dehaney has extensive experience as the buck stops here with the liquor license, this is Mr. Sandoval's first foray onto a liquor license, and he has read and reviewed the rules and regulations of the liquor board, and he indeed understands that this board takes underage drinking very seriously.
And I'm always available 24 hours for them by phone, or I don't live too far away, to help in any matter.
Mr. Fogelman, is
Yes.
there a community association there, any efforts?
The downtown partnership really serves in that capacity. It's my understanding that they met with the downtown partnership and that there were no objections. I unfortunately didn't have time to check the file and see if anything had come in.
Any issues, Mr. Duhane, if I pronounced your name right, I hope. Any issues with the 4 liquor licenses you've owned?
No,
No violations, no issues?
not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Very well, thank you.
And you're currently on a license here in Baltimore City, is that
Correct. As a matter of fact, due to my health, I had to release my restaurant in Hamden, which is, I believe, we're going into a transfer of ownership in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Any further questions? Anything else, Mr. Fogelman?
No, thank you very much. It's close to the east side of downtown, and I don't think there's enough good places to eat lunch around here, so we get one more.
Agreed. So on the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the exhibits that have been received, the proffers from council, and the testimony received, I would vote to approve this new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service.
I concur and vote to approve this new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with outdoor table service.
I too concur and agree with the issuance of the new Class B license with outdoor table service and with the investment that you've demonstrated and the seating capacity.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Have a great day.
Mr. Fogelman. I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, 19 photos. Applicant Exhibit 2, financial summary. Applicant Exhibit 3, lunch, brunch, dinner menu. Applicant Exhibit 4, Baltimore Sun article. Thank you.
Alexander Brown Restaurant, LLC, trading as Alexander Brown Restaurant, 135 East Baltimore Street, Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license. This is an application for a new Class B, beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-1604, small c, number 2, small I, requiring $700,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures and facilities, 65% food sales, seating capacity for a minimum of 150 people. Please come forward.
Good morning, Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg Martin Greenberg. On behalf of the applicant, I'm joined by my colleague Justin Williams, as well as Matthew Foodie and Nathaniel Arnott, who are our 2 licensee applicants in this.
Good morning. Would you gentlemen raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Great name for a restaurant owner.
Thank you.
I was going to make that joke.
So you want to tell us about this place?
Yes, with your permission, I'd like to proceed by way of a proffer. This is for a new Class B restaurant license at 135 East Baltimore Street. As Mr. Page said, the requirements for the license are a seating capacity of at least 150 individuals, a capital investment of $700,000, and average daily receipts of 65% in food sales. The licensed premises is the former Alexander Brown Bank Building. It's a historic building. There are some photos in the file that you'll see from Google, some images of the building. Interestingly, the building was built to be fireproof, and it actually survived the fire of 1904. It's one of the few structures in downtown that survived, and it is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and there's a thing about that in the file as well, a notation from the National Register. It functioned as a bank building up until 2016, when Capital One, which was the most recent user, moved out. Right now, the building actually continues to be owned by the Griswold family, who are descendants of Alexander Brown, and they have entered into a partnership with Casper's Company, which is based in Tampa, Florida. They own a bunch of restaurants, and they will be transforming the former bank building into a new restaurant. Casper's has also purchased the adjacent Rite Aid building, and ultimately, at the end of the day, they'll be developed together as a sort of a larger scale project. But the first phase is the restaurant portion. There's an article from the BBJ in the file as well about the proposed renovations of both buildings. Casper's, the restaurant partner, operates a restaurant called the Oxford Exchange in Tampa, Florida, which this is going to be based on. That restaurant is located in a historic building. It's a former stable that was built for the Tampa Bay Hotel in 1891. And it has done a great job of bringing the historic features together with a restaurant, as well as a retail component and a co-working space. And that's what's really envisioned ultimately for this building together with the Rite Aid building next door. And there's some photos in the file that you'll see of the Oxford Exchange building. And then you'll see the next thing is a conceptual rendering of what's proposed here at this location. You'll see it's very similar. They plan to pull together the historic components of the building and create a really vibrant bar and restaurant. The restaurant floor plan is in the file as well. It shows a seating plan with 160 seats, including a 16-seat private dining area and bar seating for 11 patrons. The menu is also in the file. It's a conceptual menu at this point, but it's very similar to what they offer at the Oxford Exchange. They're going to try to include some local flavor as well, but they will have some signature things that they're bringing forward from their Oxford Exchange location as well. The restaurant will provide lunch and dinner service, brunch on the weekends. Their hours of operation will be generally from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Mr. Foodie, who's here, who's a great name for a restaurateur, is the general manager of the restaurant. He has over 20 years' experience in the restaurant industry. His resume is included in the file as well. And he is very familiar with the rules and regulations of the Liquor Board. He, as I said, has been in the restaurant industry for 20 years, so this goes back a ways with him. The restaurant will have a policy of carding all patrons who appear to be under 30 years old, and all of their managers will complete the alcoholic beverages safety training course. The restaurant represents an investment of almost $7 million in privately financed capital investment in the city. The interior renovations alone are approximately $1.7 million. They're being done to qualify for federal historic tax credits, and the capital investment breakdown is in your file as well. They plan to hire approximately 125 employees in both full and part-time roles. And then with regard to the Class B requirements, there's a minimum seating capacity that exceeds the required 150 seats. They'll have 160 seats here. The capital investment, as I said, in interior renovations alone is $1.7 million. It's almost a $7 million project in total, which greatly exceeds the $700,000 requirement. And based on their experience at the Oxford Exchange in Florida, they don't expect to have any difficulty meeting the 65% food requirement. Our two individual licensees are here. As I said, Mr. Foodie is the general manager. He has about 20 years of experience in the restaurant industry. Mr. Arnott has been a Baltimore City resident for the past 25 years. He's not going to be involved in the day-to-day operations of the restaurant, but he used to be a bartender at Peter's Inn, and so he is familiar with the rules and regulations of the Liquor Board. Both of the individuals are authorized members of the authorized individuals under the LLC. They are both familiar with the rules and regulations of the Liquor Board and agree to abide by them. With regard to the criteria that the board are required to consider, there is a public need and desire for the license. There's a letter at the end of the file from the Downtown Partnership in support of the license. As they note in their letter, the downtown area is experiencing a little bit of a residential revitalization. A lot of new folks moving into downtown, having new amenities, new bars and restaurants for those people is very important. And while there are a number of existing licenses downtown, adding this license is not expected to have any negative impact on them. It will provide a unique restaurant type look at this type of location and a real amenity for both folks who live and work downtown as well as tourists coming to downtown Baltimore. We don't expect there'll be any type of negative impact on the general health, safety, or public welfare. With regard to parking, no parking is required under the zoning code, but as a practical matter, we expect that most of our customers are going to be walking from other downtown locations or parking in nearby parking garages. We're happy to answer any other questions you may have. Otherwise, for those reasons, we would request that the board approve the Class B license.
Commissioners have questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
I just want to say that for my generation of lawyers and business people in Baltimore, this is an absolutely beloved building. It's like a church.
It's a beautiful building.
It is. So I wish you well. I hope that that works out. Okay. Thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the exhibits which have been received in evidence, and the proffers from council, I'd vote to approve the new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license.
I concur and vote to approve the new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license.
I too vote to approve the new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Good luck.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good day.
Like all exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan. Thank you.
Hilton Management Liquor LLC, trading as Hilton Baltimore, 401 West Pratt Street, Class B, beer, wine, and liquor hotel license. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Morning.
Good morning. Leanne Schreckengast here on behalf of the applicants, and if possible, I would like to proceed by way of proffer.
You may, but can I ask him to be sworn
Yes,
first?
Be sworn in.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Ms. Schneckengast.
Thank you very much. As you may recall, this is the third time seeing me on this same matter. The Hilton has undergone an internal reorganization which triggered this liquor license transfer. The 3 individual licensees are remaining the same. The operation of the hotel is not changing. When we were here this time last year, it was our hang-up was on the permitting issue. The city had just changed their electronic permitting issue. We had problems with the fire department, with the hotel. Came for the hardship extension, only to learn a month after we filed for the hardship extension that there was a tax clearance that we were not made aware of, or tax hold from the comptroller's office that we were not made aware of. That has now taken 4 months to clear. I got the final verbal yesterday, and so hopefully when Ms. Russell gets back to the office, she'll have the email from the comptroller's office. So if the board will again approve this transfer, we should be able to pick up the license next week.
Okay. And the live entertainment is?
It's general, they do weddings and events at the hotel, so it's specific for those events.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the prior history we have with this particular license and the proffer from council, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I too vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
Thank you. Good
Thank
luck.
you all very much.
No exhibits for the record.
I'm going to recuse myself on the next matter.
You can stay if you want, but it's up to you.
Blackwall Hitch Baltimore LLC, trading as Blackwall Hitch 111 Marketplace, also known as 700 East Pratt Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership under Article 4-203B, allowing an individual to hold multiple Class B beer, wine, and liquor, and Class B LX or equivalent licenses with continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering. Please come forward.
Council?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Justin Williams from the law firm Rosenberg Martin Greenberg. I'm joined today by Derek Fink, the licensee applicant from Blackwall Hitch Baltimore LLC.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And for the record, I want to note that Commissioner Hapey has recused herself from this hearing.
So this should be a pretty straightforward and simple matter. This Blackwall Hitch came before the board on February 15th, 2018 for approval of a Class B license at the location of a 111 Marketplace, downtown Baltimore. Derek Fink, at the time, was the intended licensee applicant, and he's a licensee applicant at the Blackwall Hitch location in Annapolis and a few other restaurants. However, at the time of our application, the provision of the state alcoholic beverages article was interpreted to mean that individuals cannot hold licenses in multiple jurisdictions. And so we went to the state and had the law changed and amended to allow individuals to hold multiple licenses in different jurisdictions. The General Assembly has since passed HB 1003, effective July 1, to permit individuals to hold multiple licenses. We applied initially in February 2018 for approval to comply with timing provisions of the the lease premises. So we wanted to go forward, but now that we have the state law changed, we want to proceed as we initially intended with Mr. Fink on the license. So the initial licensees who were approved in the license were Derek's wife, Kristen Fink, and a city resident, Margaret Murphy. And so the only effective change between what was presented to the board February 15th and now is that Mr. Fink will take over his wife's position on the license.
And is it in operation now?
It is not. So the license was never issued officially because they're still doing the build-out. Do you have an anticipated opening date?
May of 19.
Oh, so still a little ways away, but we want to get everything buttoned up now.
Okay. And in terms of the management of the alcohol, who's going to be in charge of that?
Sure. So that was presented to the board in February 2018. The general manager will be Robert Puzio. He has 20 years' experience in the restaurant industry and has worked with Mr. Fink that time.
Current GM of our Annapolis location.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I do not.
All right. Thank you. Then, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, the exhibits which have been received, our prior history with this application, and the testimony, I'd vote to approve the transfer with continued live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering.
I too vote to approve and would add the change in the state law that supports such transfer. Good
Yes.
luck.
Good luck.
Medical exhibits for the record, Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I think we're moving to case number 7,
Mhm.
docket. I think we're back on track.
I just texted, she's coming.
Payson's Corner LLC, trading as Payson's Corner, 255 North Payson Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the address of 255 North Payson Street does appear on the Transform Baltimore zoning as being in non-compliance. It must come into compliance by June 2019.
And they're aware of that, Mr. Priebus?
They are, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to identify yourself for the record?
Good morning for the next 3 minutes. Peter Priebus on behalf of the applicants. Ms. Jimenez was just, went to the ladies' room and she should be here in any
But
second.
while we're waiting for her, do you want to proffer what's going on here?
Sure, here they are.
So would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, proceeding by way of a proffer, Ms. Rose Jimenez and Mr. Denon Penn are here today. They are the proposed licensees and the 50% each owners of this business that is proposing to transfer the liquor license. The prior owner of the license, Ms. Velma Mason, passed away, and her husband, Harvey Mason, otherwise known as Mr. Rock, was the PR of the estate and is contracted to sell the business to my clients. The purchase price is $50,000, and that has been paid. The property, as you indicated, is in a residential zone at 255 North Payson Street. My clients are aware that that is in a residential zone and is subject to the certain section in Reform Baltimore that if it is not legally challenged, would require that the liquor license be moved or otherwise transferred away by June 4th of 2019. You folks understand that? And you bought this, you're buying this business with full knowledge and understanding of that? Yes. Okay. The business is a type of a corner grocery that sells alcoholic beverages. They've gone in, they've cleaned it up a lot. They are providing groceries, fresh fruits and vegetables, and are making themselves a real asset and fixture in the community. They have gotten to know the neighbors and seem to be upgrading the area as opposed to downgrading.
Will they be alcohol certified?
Yeah. Have you gotten your alcohol awareness certification yet? Mr. Penn has. Did you get yours as well?
No.
Okay. With regard to prior experience, Ms. Jimenez is a retired police officer and served in New York for approximately 20-some years. So she's not, has no prior experience with serving alcohol, but she fully understands the implications of complying with all the laws. They have another business, a coffee shop on 317 West Madison, 315, I'm sorry, West Madison Street, that they've been in operations for 2-3 years? About 3 years. So they are familiar with the retail business and what's required. All the alcohol is behind and not accessible to the public. The rest of the area is, the goods are open. It's not all behind plexiglass. It's open and available. If somebody wants alcoholic beverages, they have to order it from the cashier. You've got your alcohol awareness certification, and everything else in the application that we submitted is true and accurate, and nothing has changed?
No.
Okay.
Commissioners have questions?
Yes. Who's managing the day-to-day?
I am.
We both are.
Yes.
We're both there.
Just one at a time.
Okay, sorry.
Good, Mr. Penn. Come up to the mic.
All right, sorry. I open up at about 7, and I stay till about 5 o'clock. My son, I leave at about 5. My son plays football at Calvert Hall. Go pick him up from football practice. They come in about 1 or 2, and they stay till closing. Her and my wife.
And that's 6 a.m. to 12 a.m., 6 days a week is your
6 days
current
a week, yes.
operation?
Yes.
Okay.
So one of us.
One
is
of the
there.
families there at all times?
Yes.
Hands-on business?
Yes.
And Ms. Jimenez, you do not live in New York City now?
No, I don't. I have an elderly mom. My legal residence is still New York, but I do go home like on the weekends, well, just to check on her. But I'm here all week. I may leave, I may not be around Saturday or maybe a Monday, because I know we're closed Sundays. So if I leave Friday night or if I leave Saturday, I come back Monday night. So
Great, thank you.
other than that, I'm here.
Anything further?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, proffers from counsel, and the testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
No exhibits for the record?
Not so sure about that Calvert Hall football player.
Mr. Cruz.
I'm a Don.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you again.
Club Expectations LLC, trading as Club Expectations, 4330 East Lombard Street, Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants, Ms. Susan Hawkins,
Good morning.
Mr. Clint Spencer, and Ms. Catherine Jones, who is the city resident licensee who does not have an ownership interest.
Okay, can I ask the three of you to raise your right hands, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could proceed by way of a proffer. Ms. Hawkins and Ms. Spencer have purchased this business. It's up on Lombard Street, kind of across the street from Tiffany East and down towards Greektown a little further. It's previously a tavern with approved live entertainment. They've applied for their continuation of that use and occupancy permit. Ms. Hawkins is a fairly accomplished comedian, and
Sorry, Mr. Previs, can you start over?
Sure.
I apologize, my machine was kind of hung up for a second.
okay.
Just your testimony or your.
Okay, if I may proceed by way of a proffer. The owners are Susan Hawkins and Clint Spencer. They're 50% each. And there's a pre-existing business across from Tiffany East and down the block towards Greektown a little bit on East Lombard Street. The business has been in operation for several years and has had live entertainment for many years. Ms. Hawkins is an accomplished comedian, so one of the reasons that got her involved and interested in having this business is they have a comedy night. So right now they're doing it one Saturday a month, and they recently had a show that was very successful with Mickey Cuccello, formerly of 98 Rock. I guess he's still there sometime, and bring in people from all over who are interested in comedy and the comedy circuit. The other live entertainment, right now, it's just Wednesday night karaoke night. On the application, it also says DJ and band. Nothing is contemplated for that right now, other than if there was a special event or a private party that desired to have a DJ or a band. But the focus and the drive to get into this business is to have a venue for comedy, which.
And is there tavern food as well?
Not yet. There's a kitchen that needs work, but the plan is to have a bar food menu, and hoping to get that operational pretty soon. We have a second health department inspection coming up very soon, and assuming that this board approves it and the health department approves, when the license is actually transferred into the name, there will be a bar food menu restaurant. Is that correct?
And who's going to manage the sales of alcohol?
Well, we.
Both of you are going to be there at all times?
Yes, sir.
Certified?
Have you had the alcohol awareness
I have.
certification?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Both of you have. Okay, great.
Okay.
And
Any communication with the community?
Yes, ma'am, every day. They've been very, very positive, and that is our goal, to help the community.
Who's they? Is it a particular
Oh,
association?
No.
I don't know
there is
that
no
there's a
association.
community association in that area, but you're talking about your
The
general
local
neighbors.
residents.
Okay.
Mhm.
But you've had no indication of
No.
whether and if there is a community association?
No, we haven't found any.
It's a fairly industrial area, although there's a spattering of residences around. And it's a kind of an interesting demographic, because you have some of the old East Baltimore
Yeah.
people, and you have the Latino community that's moved in, and you're catering to everybody. Is that right?
Good luck. You're going to need your humor.
That's right.
Exactly.
Do you need,
No
have
further
any questions?
questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then, the materials, I had a question. Back on our sheet here, it says something about 2017 April, that the license was seized from this location for writ of execution.
Yeah, the prior owner, Mr. Schaefer, who's in the back room, he had a judgment against him from a totally different operation, a totally different business. And so there was an issue with that, and as I understand it from Mr. Schaefer this morning, that has been paid, settled, and satisfied, and it would not be an issue or an encumbrance on this license at this point.
All right, thank you. All right, now on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel and testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of live entertainment.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck, thank you.
One final question, what football team?
The Ravens.
Oh, the high school. Nah? Oh, well.
My son did go to Calvert Hall.
Uh-oh. 0 for 2.
You waited.
0 for 2, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you.
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you so much.
Red Emma's Cooperative Corporation, trading as Red Emma's 1225 Cathedral Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service, requesting off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Please come forward.
Identify yourself, please.
My name is Mary Al-Khatib. I am co-founder and vice president of Red Emma's Cooperative Corporation.
Okay, would you and your friends raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, so this is an application to transfer the ownership with live entertainment, outdoor service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Can you
Correct.
tell us about your operation?
So Red Emma's is a worker-owned business. We've been around since 2003. We opened our first space in Mount Vernon in 2004 in the space that now houses Melody Cafe. We moved in 2013 to 30 West North Avenue. We were at 30 West North Avenue for 5 years. We had a liquor license at that location. No history of violations or problems. We surrendered that license earlier this year because we knew that we were going to be moving, and it's in a different district, so we weren't able to transfer it. We have moved now to, or in the process of moving to 1225 Cathedral Street. This is a pretty well-known Baltimore landmark. It's the building that's right across from the Joseph Meyerhoff Symphony Hall. It's a portion of the building that also houses the Baltimore Theater Project. It was the original location of Spike and Charlie's. Most recently, it was Riley's Oyster House. So there have been a number of restaurants and a number of different organizations that have come through the building in the past several decades. We're moving our base of operations there. We've closed our 30 West North location and are hoping to open up with something very similar to what we were doing previously. So vegetarian food, some light beer, wine, and cocktails, but it's not a huge focus of what we do, but certainly an added value. We're also adding a seated served dinner component. We've never had table service before. That's something that this location allows us to do. So with that, we anticipate starting to see more sales of beer and wine than we did in our previous location. We do some public-facing events. We don't host live music. We really focus on poetry reading, spoken word. We do book talks, workshops, lectures, screenings, things like that. We really do a lot of educational programming. That's kind of that's our bent. That's what we really focus on. But it still qualifies as live entertainment, which is part of why we wanted to keep that on the license.
And the people who were operating your thing on West North Avenue, are they going to be the same people operating the operation here on Cathedral Street?
Yes, so we have 15 owners of the business that are coming from us from 30 West North Avenue to 1225 Cathedral. That includes people like me that have been involved for 15 years. It includes folks that have been involved for 2 or 3 years. And then we also have a new staff coming in. So we've had to hire, obviously, because it's an expanded space for us.
Those who handle the alcohol will be certified?
Correct. We have 7 folks on our staff right now that have certification. Because we're a worker-owned business, we actually like to try and have everyone certified because it's kind of professional development for us.
So when Commissioner Greenfield's grandmother comes out of the BSO on Friday night, you're going to card her?
You know, we for a long time have actually had a policy of carding everybody who comes through the doors, and some of our patrons are like, seriously, what is wrong with you people? But, you know, we don't like to discriminate against anybody. We want to make sure everybody feels welcome.
She appreciates that.
Any questions?
Yes. Any communication with the community?
Yes, I have. So we feel like there's actually a lot of excitement about us coming back. Mount Vernon was our home, so it's a nice return for us. But I do have some letters of support, and unfortunately I only brought one copy of them
You can
because
just
I'm
give it,
not
let
good
us
at
see, and
this.
we'll give it to Ms. Russell for the record.
I have a letter of support from the producing director of the Baltimore Theater Project, which shares the building with us. I have a letter of support from the director of artistic planning from the BSO, which of course is across the street. And then I have a letter of support and also a memorandum of understanding with the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, which is the community organization.
And is that an executed MOU?
Yes, it is.
And are they willing to have this be a restriction on their license? The terms?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, let's say, yes, it is an
I
executed
mean, you've
MOU.
agreed to these things anyway.
Yeah.
But just so you understand, what I'm saying is, if they violate the MOU, we could bring them
There's
in.
nothing in there that we're uncomfortable with.
Okay. Anything further? Let's get the safety up there. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
All right, on the basis then of the materials contained in your application, the exhibits which have been received, and the testimony that's been received, I would vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of the live entertainment, outdoor table service, and the catering, et cetera, and I hope that you find local poets.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer with continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
I too approve the transfer of the ownership with the continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Wish you all good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Medical exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, 2 letters of support. Applicant Exhibit 2, MOU between licensees and Mount Vernon Belvedere Association. Thank you.
York Club, 5407 York Road. This is a Class B, D7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and application to transfer ownership. Please come forward. We need that information because the columns have to speak about it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Or good afternoon.
Yeah,
So would you identify yourself, Ms. Witt, for the record?
sure. Becky Witt, on behalf of the Mid-Govans Community Association in opposition. I think Mr. Fogelman
Oh,
is the attorney for
Okay.
the other side. Yeah, he's coming.
My apologies. I thought you had one more case. I'm so sorry.
He seems to always have one more case.
Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicants.
Okay, would those who are going to testify raise their right hands, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing? We'll start over. Do you swear? Just raise your right hand, sir.
You just have to stand up.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, thank you, and good morning. Application was filed by my client, Ms. Savita Gajare. Ms. Gajari has extensive experience in the operation of a alcoholic beverage establishment and signed a contract with the licensee, Ms. Eke, who is here today, Ms. Eke Ekanam, for the York Club Tavern at 5407 York Road.
This is in the Govans area?
I believe it is, Mid-Govans. Yeah, so there was a little bit of trouble along the way. Ms. Ekanam was approached after she had signed the contract with the purchasers by another licensee who said, I want to turn this into a great restaurant, and I got plans for this. And she said, oh, that sounds lovely, but I've already signed a contract. And unfortunately, that licensee presented his plans to the community and got them excited about a concept. The only problem was, the evidence will show, that these great plans, you got to have a contract in your hand before you tell people what you're going to do with the property. And the evidence will show that indeed the asset purchase agreement was signed, the liquor license application was filed by Savita Gajari, my client, and the community's disappointed at what they possibly could have had. The evidence will show that my client's is completely is a tremendous asset to a new business like this. Ms. Ekanam, the evidence is going to show she's trying to retire. She's trying to get out of the business. And Ms. Gajari offers a youthful exuberance and full-time administration of the bar.
What's Ms. Gajari's background?
And so I think that it will be a net positive for the community here. Ms. Gajari spent the last 8 years working at the family business, at her husband's business, just up York Road. And Ananda Gajari is in the back row with their son. He's a licensee as well. Ms. Gajari.
Is his business a tavern?
It is a liquor store.
Oh, liquor store.
Yeah.
So what's the concept for?
At this point, they're taking over a tavern and with packaged goods. They're going to do improvements to the interior of the property first, and then they have plans to renovate the exterior of the property as well. They're going to have at least 3 employees at the business at all times, so there'll be some more administration. Unfortunately, I think Ms. Ekanam was flying solo for a while there. There will be, like I say, personnel. The question here, and you hear it all the time, is about loitering and things like that. So Ms. Gajari met with the community, met with stakeholders from several community associations, including Councilman Bill Henry, about 10, 12 days ago. And the applicant here has heard some of the requests from the community. And she's heard them all, but she understands that she can't agree to all of them right off the bat. Some folks wanted her to shut down as early as 10 p.m. And there's a reason the law allows 2 a.m. because that's when people go out on Friday and Saturday nights. She has agreed to clip her hours Sunday through Thursday to close at 1 a.m. rather than the state 2 a.m. Additionally, she agreed that she will not sell any kind of drug-related paraphernalia, whether that means rolling papers or those little roses in those glass tubes that people buy. Furthermore, and I think this is significant, and I hope it's an opportunity for Mid-Govans and for the York Road Partnership to seize on, she is very much interested in having a conversation with her competitors, with the other licensees in the immediate vicinity. And if they will agree to stop selling miniatures, she will agree to stop selling miniatures. It's simply a matter of, if you just say, I won't sell miniatures, people go across the street and buy the miniatures and take the problem just 50 feet away. So she's got an open mind. She's got a good track record. She knows how to order inventory. She knows how to card people. She's already been through it. And so I see this transfer as a net benefit. Ms. Gajari they're purchasing the property as well as the business. So they'll have all the incentives to take care of their investment. And they have a good relationship with members of the community just up the road at Ananda's liquor store. And I have some letters, and I have a petition with over 250 signatures in support.
You have letters from where?
I do, from individuals, from folks. I mean, I'll be happy to just put them in now if you want me to, just in the interest of time.
Okay.
Sure. Here you go. And I apologize, I'm not sure why these say memorandum of understanding on them. They are clearly not memoranda of understanding. They are letters of support. One is from Barbara Tinsley of,
Okay.
One's from Barbara Tinsley, who indicates that she represents the Witherspoon Road Association in the Govans community. She says that Ms. Gajari has provided low-income housing, keeps a good environment in the neighborhood, and she is up to, and she goes on. Then there's a letter from Reverend Dr. Iris Farabe Lewis, pastor at the United Methodist Church in the Govans community, who recommends Ms. Gajari as an applicant, as a long-term member, upstanding long-term member of the community, and she resides in the community. I want to make that clear as well, providing employment opportunities for people in the neighborhood, and I believe they're a member of the church as well. So I'd ask that those be admitted.
They'll be received.
I'm sorry.
Just this one.
So with that, I'd love to allow Ms. Witt to respond.
And who do you represent, Ms. Wood?
The Mid-Govans Community Association,
Okay.
which is the community association on the east side of York Road that encompasses this property.
And what is their opposition?
So, I guess I don't know if I can ask a clarifying question of Mr. Fogelman.
You can. I mean, he's not under oath, but just
Sure.
ask him. Sure, he'll answer.
You can, and if my client, I'll have my client respond maybe also. So.
Okay, yeah, I definitely would have a few questions for the applicant. When you said she lives in the community, were you referring to the woman who wrote this letter, or were you referring to your client?
To the woman who wrote the
Okay,
letter, I'm
okay.
sorry.
They were already submitted, okay. So I do have a few questions for the applicant, if that's all right.
Yeah.
All right, I prefer to do a quick direct and then turn it over to Cross.
Well, I don't know what the basis for the opposition is. Can you tell us that, and then we can get to it?
Sure. So the basis for the opposition is the community did meet with the applicant a couple weeks ago and presented some issues with that block of York Road, which is troubled. It has 4 liquor licensees on that same block. And I'm just proffering this on behalf of Mid-Govans, because I don't live in Mid-Govans, but since the York Club Tavern has been closed, since the hearing in which the commission shut down the establishment for 30 days, and I think it remained closed for a period of time after that for other reasons, but they have seen a tremendous improvement in that block of York Road. So they're very concerned about things like security, things like trash, kind of similar issues that a lot of taverns in Baltimore City have these same issues. We also have some kind of the basis of why the real reason or the real argument that we're presenting here today is that there are material false statements in the application. So that's why I'd like to kind of go over the application more carefully with the applicant.
Okay. Well, I guess we got to find out, and then I'll let you redirect her, okay? So can we ask Ms. Gajari to come forward?
Thank you. Ms. Gajari?
Hello, everybody.
Morning,
Hi.
or good afternoon.
Ms. Gajari, did you fill out the application yourself to transfer the ownership of the license?
Actually, my husband did because I have a little baby, so we were just kind of doing it together.
Okay, so you and your husband together filled out the application? Okay. So you've read it carefully and you know what it says?
Almost tried to, as much as I could, yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to submit copies of the application for everyone to make sure that everyone has it in front of them.
Is it
You do?
different than the ones we have in
No,
our?
it's not. I mean, I've highlighted a few portions of it.
Let's just ask her about it, and
Okay.
we'll follow.
Oh, yeah. So on the second line underneath your name, it says your residence is 6626 Harford Road. Is that where you live?
We own the property, that one. We were there for some time, but now we have moved elsewhere, but I do pay taxes and
Okay.
everything on the property.
Okay, so you don't live at 6626 Harford Road, but you do own it?
Yes,
When's the last time you lived at that address?
about 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago, okay. So under period of residency in Baltimore City, that part is left blank. Do you live in Baltimore City?
Not anymore, we just moved,
Okay, so when did you move?
but last year.
Last year, okay. And then underneath it says, check a box right underneath your name. It says, have you been a resident and taxpayer of the city of Baltimore for 2 years? And you checked yes, but you're saying now that you're not a resident of Baltimore
do pay
City.
taxes.
But you do pay taxes, okay. On the second page of the application, question number 7 says, do the spouses or children of any of the applicants have a financial interest in any other alcoholic beverages license or business in Baltimore City? And you checked no.
For children, my children are little.
Yes, but spouses. Does your spouse own a liquor
Yes,
license in
yes.
Baltimore City?
Okay.
Mhm, okay. And then on the third page, right above your signature, there's a paragraph that starts certificate of applicants. And it says at least one applicant whose signature appears below certifies that he or she has been a resident and taxpayer of Baltimore City, Maryland for at least 2 years preceding the filing of this application. And then your signature is below that. But again, you're saying you're not.
I'm a taxpayer though.
You're a taxpayer, but not a resident. Okay. Okay, let me see if I have any other questions. I think that, so, sorry, can you tell us where you do live?
Ellicott City.
In Ellicott City, okay. Okay. All right, I think, actually I do have a few more questions. So how will you, if the license is transferred to you, how will you plan to, do you have a security plan of some kind?
Right now, we'll follow the same security like we have in the other store, nice security cameras, 24 hours. And if anything goes wrong, they call the police and the police calls us and they come to the store right away.
Mhm.
And we have a security guy in the store also who helps us in the store. So if there is any kind of loitering or anything, he just takes care of that. So I will try my best to have the cameras and the security personnel as well
Mhm.
in the store.
Do you recall if there have been any violations in the history of your husband's ownership at Semino's? Violations of the liquor law or the rules and regulations?
Not the regulations.
Okay, you don't remember any violations?
Not at least with me, like.
Okay, you don't remember, okay. Okay, I think those are all the questions that I have.
Did you want to follow up on that?
Very briefly, thank you. All right, Ms. Gajari, neither you nor Mr. Gajari consulted an attorney before you filed this application. And in fact, it was your understanding that being a property owner in Baltimore City was all that was required?
Yes.
And you're not aware that there was a change in policy at the liquor board just a couple of years ago about
When
that?
we bought the other store, we
Right.
were just required.
I understand.
The taxes.
All right, and Ms. Gajari, like you said, you have provided security personnel
Yes.
at your husband's
Yes,
location, isn't that right?
yes.
Why did you do that?
It's few people loitering around, and we don't like people standing in front of the store much. So we just need somebody to just tell them to go away.
And with respect to 5407 York Road, the York Club Tavern, have you had a chance to investigate and look for loitering in the area?
I have tried. It's mostly around the corner, on the corner carry-out store. Few people in front of the other stores too. But if there is a problem, because I need our security too. If there is a problem with security, I definitely would want to secure my store and us, and the customers also. So hire a security person, of course, definitely.
So that's all I have based on these
Can I-
questions. May I jump in at this point?
Before you do, can I ask
Sure.
Mr. Akers a question? Tom, would you come over?
Sorry, I don't know which way
Swear
to
him
go.
in.
Yes.
swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, so do we have the authority to transfer a license to a non-resident?
To a non-resident? No.
Or someone who pays taxes but doesn't reside in the city?
No, individuals that held a license as of 2015 were grandfathered in, but for new transfers, those are prohibited.
So they would have to file an amended application?
They would have to file amended applications, yes.
Okay. You disagree, Mr. Fogel?
Yes, I'm happy to take the floor now. I'm obviously going to ask the board for a postponement to amend. The alternative is you dismiss the petition. They pay another $600. Ms. Econom, who's been closed less than 180 days, gets a hearing to reopen, and then we come back here again in a few months. I would say that probably the most efficient route would be to give us a postponement in order to amend the application to include a city resident.
Commissioners, I would just point you to section 4-210B of the alcoholic beverages article, which says that the local licensing board shall deny a license application if the board determines that the applicant has made a material false statement in the application. I'm skipping a few lines there, but that's the third reason why the board must deny a license application. We are not necessarily arguing that the applicant has acted fraudulently, which is another reason why the board must deny a license application. They may have been confused about what the law requires, but it's obvious that this is a false statement. It's obvious that it's a material false statement, and I would ask that the board deny the application.
Well, we're not going to grant the transfer, that's for sure, because as has been conceded, they're not in a position to receive it at this point. So I can understand why a non-lawyer might think that even though this is stated in the conjunctive rather than the disjunctive, that one or the other was sufficient. But so I don't know whether there was real intent to deceive, but it's wrong anyway, and so we can't proceed on it.
Thank you. And I don't think you need to make a finding today as to
I don't know if my colleagues
statements
have a
made.
view on that, but
I'd like to ask you to make a finding.
if I had to make a finding, I really don't think I would find that it was intentional, but I don't know how the other commissioners feel.
It doesn't, based on, I don't have enough information to determine whether it's intentional or not.
I mean, just, sorry to interrupt, but the law doesn't require that you find that it's intentional. They just require that you find that the applicant has made a material false statement.
That's the issue of whether, well,
Whether or not she intended to defraud or to deceive is not it's not a part of that line of the state law. Is what.
And Your Honor, I'm simply asking for a continuance prior to the board making any finding.
but where would that get us if we found that she made a material false statement?
Well, then
Would
that
that be a prohibition on her amending?
I need to check in the code, but I believe that if an application has been denied, then there's a period of time during which the applicant cannot reapply. But that's just going on my own memory.
Do you know, Mr. Ackers?
If the board denies an application, then the board cannot hear the same application from the same applicant for 6 months. It's prohibited.
Well, unless she moves, we're not going to be able to hear it from the same applicant anyway, right?
Well, but if I may, I mean, I have a backup plan. It's a little more it's a little more convoluted. It'll probably confuse everyone, but it includes Miss Econom going back into business, and then with a management agreement with Miss Gajare, who gains a city resident on her application and refiles this application in 6 months. What that does is slow down the dollars that the Gajares are going to pour into the building and fix up the business. And so it's sort of, to me, it doesn't, I don't think it would serve any purpose for anyone.
I mean, obviously, based on the evidence presented, there is a misrepresentation in the application, and it's material because it goes to our authority to grant the license. So yes, where that gets you, I don't know.
What is the status of the license now?
The license is the establishment is closed, but a license transfer application was filed. So I did the math the other day. I don't know off the top of my head, but they're definitely under 180 days. So Ms. Econom could today go to Charles Street and ask for a request to reopen the premises having been closed more than 90
That's
days.
not true, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry.
Yes, as the Executive Secretary says, that's not true. Back in July, the board held a hearing and issued a suspension for 30 days. One of the factors that the board looks at when somebody comes back to pick up their license is whether their corporation's in good standing, if they owe outstanding sales tax. There's certain criteria that need to be checked. Are all the permits up to date? When the current licensee returned to the liquor board, she had none of that. There was outstanding sales tax. I think the corporation wasn't in good standing. There were a number of things that wouldn't allow the board to issue the license. So the license or the location has been closed
Frankly,
since that date.
it's really not material to us what she does. The issue is whether we can grant this today or not, and we can't. So I think we should deny the application at this point, and she can do whatever she thinks she should do.
I concur and deny the application.
I join my colleagues and would concur. I still think, though, Ms. Witt, and to your client, at some point, the current licensee has the right to sell
Certainly.
to whomever she wants, and it's
Mhm.
our decision whether we approve that or not.
Yeah.
So again, as I often say, I would encourage both sides to actually sit down and have a dialogue, because the licensee is going to sell to somebody.
Mhm.
And so, you know, it's better that everybody's as much on the same page as not, so.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
I pose this for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, 2 letters of support. Thank you.
Do we have another case?
No, I think that's it.
I think that's it.
That concludes the AM docket. Mr.
All right, well,
Chairman, the board is in
let's take an
recess.
hour, and we'll come back for the afternoon doc.
The board is in recess until 1:30.
I have to run upstairs. I'll meet you guys over.
And no talking
No.
Okay, Mr. Page, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Now begins the PM session of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Preliminary matter on the PM docket, case number 3, 7 East 33rd Street, a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer. This case has been postponed. Pulaski Emporium, Inc., trading as Pulaski Liquor Emporium, 6425 Pulaski Highway. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
For those of you who are going to testify this afternoon, you'll have to be sworn. We're going to be recorded here, so when you do testify, please step up to the microphone and spell your name. Counsel, identify yourself, please.
Frank Schollis, representing the licensee.
Good afternoon. Would the others raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the
Raise your right
testimony?
hand.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Shawless, this is an application to transfer.
Yes, it is, Your Honor. It's an application for transfer of a BD7 license. It's located in an industrial area. Mrs. Parikh is the owner, and Mr. Pleva is the resident. Mr. Pleva has been a resident on this license for approximately 8 years, so there's no real change there. Ms. Parikh, she lives in Ellicott City. She's going to be, she has a child 7 years old.
7 years, yeah.
7 years old that is in school, so she is going to be in and out. The actual full-time manager will be her husband, and he is present if you'd like to talk to him. His name is Rupen Parikh.
Well, what's his background?
His background is he has been in convenience store ownership for many years.
Okay, and does he have any experience with alcohol?
He, just as a clerk, just early on.
Is he certified?
No, pardon me?
Is he alcohol certified?
No, he is not, but Ms. Parikh is scheduled to be certified on, it's next Thursday, whatever date that is, and I'm not sure, I think that's 5th of October. And she has experience as a clerk in the convenience store, so she's familiar with retail sales.
I understand.
And dealing with people.
We're just concerned about the rules and regulations of the alcohol sales, being very careful about sales to minors and making sure you understand all the regulations about from whom you can purchase your inventory, and what your hours of operation are, the necessity under this license to maintain the tavern open at all times. And do you understand all of those things?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Fireside North, any issues with that? Someone owns Fireside North or has?
No, not the same.
Your application has something in here.
Says his wife does.
Oh.
It's your wife, isn't it?
Does someone have a
Oh,
financial?
yes, right. His wife is a resident at Farside.
Okay, so we're not aware of any
No,
violations?
they don't take any active part in either business.
Thank you.
Okay. You have anything?
No.
Okay. On the basis then of the information contained in the application, the proffer from council and testimony, I vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you.
Tori and Remy Inc., trading as Ori's Liquors, 1001 East 25th Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Council?
Your Honor, please, Frank Shawless representing the applicant.
Ladies, will you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
State your name.
My name?
You can put your hand down.
My name?
Yes.
My name is Sun Hee Jung.
Okay.
And this is Maureen McGinnis. She's a little nervous. Miss
You don't need to be
McGinnis-
nervous, but just tell us what you're going to do, okay?
Thank you.
Miss McGinnis is the resident for this licensee. Miss Jung lives in Ellicott City. She will be the full-time manager of the store and probably on the premises about 16 hours a day. Previous to this, she did have some retail experience. She owned a strip mall, and in that strip mall, she had a store. She still owns a strip mall, but is not operating the store. She does have retail experience.
Does she have alcohol certification?
She's going to get her alcohol certification.
Okay.
Also, that should be done within the next week. It will definitely be done before the transfer takes place.
Okay. And who will be working at this liquor store?
She will be there.
And anybody else?
I
She'll
need,
have-
I need an employee.
You haven't hired yet, or you have?
You're taking over some of the staff.
I need 2-3 more.
So you got, some of the people who already work there are going to continue? Is that what you're saying?
Continue they work.
Okay. Okay. And are you familiar with our rules and regulations, ma'am?
Yes, I got one in Korean for her.
Okay.
And I also have an interpreter here if you need him.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions, just a quick comment. If there are any issues with translation, we have an inspector who speaks fluent Korean, so we're here to be of assistance if there's language barrier.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council and testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer.
Good luck.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No exhibits for the record.
J.J. Yoon LLC, trading as Ridgely Mini Mart, 631 Washington Boulevard. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer ownership. please come forward.
Counsel?
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky representing the applicant. I'm actually pinch hitting for Mr. Abraham Hurdle, who is otherwise occupied.
Okay. Can I ask your clients to raise their right hands, please?
Now, do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a transfer. Mr. Young used to own this store a few years back, if you look on the cards, maybe in the 12 and 13, and went to somebody else, and now she's wound up taking it back. So she's very familiar with the operation, having been a former licensee, and so forth. It was a kind of situation where I think due to the prior owner was not able to keep up with certain things that required her to get back into the game, so to speak. So she knows about the rules and regulations of the board. It's not going to make any changes to the business. Small store,
How many people work there?
probably 2 or 3 at the most. Yeah, besides you, well, you can only do so much once you're hobbling around there.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
Okay. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel and testimony, I vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer.
I too vote to approve the transfer.
She's got to come
Oh,
back in
exhibits for the
10
record.
years.
Why you do that?
No, here, do that. Give it to Mr. Abraham.
Thank you. No exhibits.
JMB3 Holdings LLC, 1718 Thames Street, Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Once again, for the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, pinch hitting from Mr. Hurdle. This is a transfer of an existing location in Fells Point, Thames Street. You know, I think I got this license. If you look on the cards, probably 25 years ago. No more cards?
Not here.
Still like the.
Are you Mr. Brockmeyer, sir? Would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. They're going to operate the place exactly the same as it is. Mr. Brockmeyer has 10 or 15 years experience working in various establishments. He can, if you ask him, he'll tell you, and along with his brother's going to help him keep the people that are working there, hire people from the neighborhood if possible. If you know where the recreation pier used to be, where they're across the street there.
Across from the Pendry?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's a tavern with some food?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the nature of the live entertainment?
Live music.
DJ kind of thing? Or?
We have a DJ.
Oh, but you said live music. I'm sorry.
Live music and sometimes a DJ. Usually the live music is just an acoustic single person, sometimes double.
How many tables outside?
Yes, we have 5 tables outside.
It's a little, space there. And they're between what was the old Waterfront Hotel, and you got the Cat's Eye there. They play that Zydeco music. You guys like that?
Yeah, I love it. What's the, I don't know what he's talking about ever. What's the establishment now?
Riptide by the Bay.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Okay. Any further questions?
No.
All right, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application, well, wait a minute, before I go there, so who has the license now?
It's under Roger Ripple.
Okay, because he's had some difficulties here with us, so you need to be more vigilant than he was, I understand.
Could not agree more.
Okay.
And on that point, Mr. Chairman, I encourage you, if you haven't, work with the community.
Absolutely.
Very active and very.
I know they've been talking with Joanne Massapus, and, I think her and Abe get along all right, but so they've been talking together.
I've worked and managed at the Horse Cayman Out Saloon, so I know the community very well. 12 years there. So.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel and testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
I vote to approve the transfer with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
Good luck.
Very much. Appreciate it.
No exhibits for the record.
TC Entertainment LLC, trading as Penthouse Baltimore, 615 Fallsway, Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor license, and Class AE Adult Entertainment License, an application to transfer ownership of the Class BD7 Beer, Wine, and Liquor License and Class AE Adult Entertainment License with continuation of live entertainment. Please come forward.
For the record, again, Melvin J. Kanansky representing the applicants. The people that are on the license now are exactly the same people that were on the license when it was Scores for the last 13 years. It's a transfer, an internal transfer within, for purposes for counting. They're going to change the name over to Penthouse. Won't be any different. Still have adult entertainment. Still have the hot dog place next door, AJ's, and won't be any difference. And they've been operating the place for the last 13 years, haven't had any problems.
Do you all have questions? Because I'll swear them if you do.
I don't have any questions.
Do you?
I can ask Mr. Kudensky.
Yeah.
Any issues in the past whatsoever with not just the liquor license, but the adult entertainment license?
No, not really. It's been kind of, and they're right across the street from the prison. I mean,
Zero.
I looked and I didn't find any,
Yeah.
so.
I have no questions.
Okay. Well, let's keep it that way, okay? All right. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application and the proffers from council, I would vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer, and my colleagues may want to repeat the same thing. The transfer of ownership of the liquor license and the adult entertainment license with the continuation of live entertainment.
I concur.
I concur as well.
Thank you. Good luck.
No exhibits?
Ciariello Brewers Hill, Inc., trading as Ciariello's Fine Foods, 3700 Tone Street, Retail G. This is a Class D beer and wine license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
for the record, again, Melvin J. Kanansky representing the applicants. And once again, this is the same corporation that was there. It's just been changed in the stockholders. Mr. Ciarello here has like 4 places, couple in New York, couple here. This is the one that has a beer and wine license. He's there a couple times a week. Mr. Bankert works there. He's been there the last 2 or 3 times. And he's the hands-on owner. It's a beer and wine license up in the area up near Canton.
Brewers Hill.
Brewers Hill.
Just trying to help you out.
And this is the same operation that's in Belvedere Square?
Yeah,
Yes.
but they don't have a liquor license there.
Okay. Questions?
I don't have any questions.
I need to go. I haven't been. I'm here where I live.
Okay.
And they
Maybe
know
you'll get an
where- They know
invitation.
where you live, too.
Because they see me playing.
Only because they deliver.
Well, they also see me play Zydeco right outside my house.
You know what they talk about?
Thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application and the proffers from council, I vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer. Good luck.
I vote to approve the transfer.
Good luck, sir.
No exhibits?
Okay.
Okay?
Can I do it from the office?
Is there anything you want?
Good tomorrow?
Come on, right now. Thank you, sir.
Bombay Grill of Baltimore, Inc., trading as Indigma, 900 Cathedral Street, Suite 3, Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service, requesting off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanansky representing the applicants in this case. This application transfer, Mr. Shibnar's been in the alcoholic beverage business for a great number of years. He's going to continue in that business and get a transfer of this existing license at that location, hire the same people that are in the area, and to basically, he knows the rules and regulations of the liquor board. He's been a licensee prior for, was it 20 years, was it?
Sir,
30 years.
before you
30
do that,
years,
can I ask you to raise your right hand, please? And you too, ma'am.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So he was a prior licensee for
I do.
30 years. So, I mean, he knows the rules and regulations and how to run a place, and he had a place just down the street from there, so it's,
I saw in the record a reference to a memorandum of understanding from 2014.
you have a letter, don't you have, I don't have, here's a letter from the Mount Vernon people, Mount Vernon Improvement Association.
Are you aware of an MOU that was executed about 4 years ago?
Yes, they made another one.
Oh, so you've
New
up,
one, and that's a new letter.
you've amended this or something?
Well, it's,
Okay, it says they've completed an MOU, should be on file.
I don't have it, but he just came in today,
Are
but if
you
there
a-
is one, we'll get one to you.
And are you agreed, sir, that the terms of the MOU will be a restriction on your license?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, do you all have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Questions?
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council and the testimony, I would vote to approve the transfer without continuation of outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages, all subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent that they're enforceable.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer with continuation of outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages with the MOU to the extent it's enforceable by law.
I too vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages, and the MOU is to be attached to the license to the extent it's permitted by law.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Medical exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, letter of support from Mount Vernon Belvedere Association dated 9/27/2018. Thank you.
Diamondback Brewing Company LLC, trading as Diamondback Brewing, 1215 East Fort Avenue. This is a Class D brewery license. Request to add outdoor table service.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanansky representing the licensee.
Raise your right hand, sir.
How do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Are you Lester F. or Lester T?
I am Lester F. Smith.
Okay. Lester T is your,
Lester T is a family member and the Baltimore resident.
This is of course, the license was granted to this establishment not too long ago, and there's a request now to add outdoor table service. They have made, oh, you have this? Because I was looking on your docket, it said no letters of support, and I said, no, plot thickens here, doesn't it?
so the Walker Development.
And Porter
people
Street.
And Porter Street are in support.
And they were, they consulted them, they're probably talking about 6 tables, 4 tops, probably 24 out there. They have the appropriate zoning, and it's just an extension of their operation. They haven't had any problems there at all.
They say you run a very good place.
I do. I like to think so.
I hope so. Commissioners have questions?
No questions?
I just have a general question. How would this might be, how will outdoor table service differ, or how could it differ with a brewery versus a regular restaurant or bar? Is there a difference?
From my understanding, it's just to allow us to be able to serve beer at the outdoor tables.
Yeah, and it wasn't a question, a gotcha. I'm just trying to understand how a brewery might serve differently, if at all, outside.
Well, it's not.
From an operational
They have the use permit that allows them to do that. When they started these brewery tavern licenses, they were sort of, an anomaly at the time, and now they're expanding, have these little beer gardens and they go along with them, some which are outside, some which aren't. As long as they get the use permit from the city, which they do have.
But you'll have servers that bring it out. It's not a self-serve.
That is correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Anything further?
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, and the testimony received, I would vote to approve the addition of outdoor table service to this license.
I concur and vote to approve the addition of outdoor table service.
I vote to approve the addition of outdoor table service.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Medical exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, letter of support from Walker Development dated September 13, 2018. Applicant Exhibit 2, letter of support from Porter Street Apartments dated September 13, 2018. Thank you.
Before we close the record, Mr. Page, if Larry will permit us, I'd like to wish Commissioner Hafey a happy birthday this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
She helps with the average age of the commission.
Significantly.
Yes.
It's like the Beatles version, say it's your birthday.
Right.
Thank you.
I believe that's our afternoon docket, Mr. Page.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until 11 a.m. Thursday, October the 11th, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't forget your phone.
again.
Thank you for your letter that
How
you
you
sent Monday before
My
last.
hand has a cramp.
well, I'm
I still
glad.
read the Sun papers, so I